Namaskar. Welcome to chapter number 22, I think it is, of Learning Stellar Astrology. My apologies for the delayed updation to my channel. I have been busy with quite a few things and I had almost stopped looking at charts for a long time. Now I have started looking at them as time permits. Um, so the reason I wanted to make this video is one question that I often get is, what is the relevant strength of a dasha versus a bhukti versus a antra? As you know from our earlier videos, we do know that a human's life, a person's life, is divided into longer periods called dashas, slightly shorter periods within the dashas called bhuktis, and within the bhuktis there are antras, which are even shorter. But I wanted to highlight this particular chart. I had actually seen this chart for someone who had come to me for a consultation when I used to do consultations, um, uh, for a very specific reason, and that reason will become apparent as you see the chart. So this is just the chart. I've hidden the data for the birth time, etc. For privacy reasons, but the chart is there, so you can actually copy it down if you like. I have given the sign lord, sub lord, and star lords as well. One question that I was asked in one of the videos comments is, do I do birth time rectification for charts? Yes, I do birth time rectification where I feel the chart is really very far away from reality. How I do birth time certification is that I use ruling planets, and I shall explain that in a later video. But right now, let's start and look at this particular chart. So, if you've taken down the chart, we can go on to the next one, and we'll look directly at the dashas that this person went through first. Okay, this person's first dasha in his life was Sun, followed by Moon, followed by Mars, followed by Rahu, followed by Jupiter, and he is currently in the Saturn Mahadasha. Now let's look at these planets one by one: Sun, Moon, Mars, and Rahu. Okay. Look at Sun. What is it signifying? It's signifying, and we are looking from point of view of career alone because that was the question that was asked of me. So we will look at career. So look at Sun. Sun is giving you the results of 1, 6, 10, 11. It has got 9, 12, suggests travel, and so this is the houses that are activated, and this is how they are activated. But at this time, the child is very small, right? So I mean, then you don't look at it that seriously from a career point of view. The next dasha was Moon. Again, Moon, you see results of 5 and 1. And the results, how were they? They were quite good. 2, 6, 10, 11. This is like the best combination you can have for success in general in life, in material matters. As we know, 610 hinders marriage, but 2, 6, 10, 11 is a good combination to have from a career material point of view. Then we look at Mars, which was his third dasha. Mars, as you can see, was all right. I mean, it's not necessarily a bad kind of a dasha. Again, this was just 7 years. He's got results of 1, 4, 11, 12, and the type of results are 5 and 1 primarily. There is an 8, so probably maybe a slightly slower period that time in his life or whatever. And then you come to Rahu. As you can see, Rahu is a blockbuster dasha. Rahu goes on for 18 years, as you can see from this particular slide. And this person basically achieved a lot of success. He went abroad. Why abroad? Because you can see there is a third signification over here. There is also a two, but I think so. He kind of stayed in India for some period of the Rahul Mahadasha, and then he went abroad, and he got immense amounts of money and respect. I mean, this person used to have a palatial house at the place he stayed. He had a bunch of servants, etc. Now, the interesting thing is the Dasha Lord also kind of gives you the kind of place he might have gone to. So generally, if you go to like a very well developed country, like you go to like a Denmark or Finland or the US or Switzerland or something like that, you will have dashas like Mercury and Venus and Sun or Moon or something like that. Um, Rahu, Ketu, and Saturn generally give you countries that, I mean, who are not like not the first preference that people will say. Like for example, Rahu, etc., or Saturn and Ketu are required to go to places like Dubai or Qatar or Africa, some places which are slightly off the beaten trail. So Eastern Europe, places like this. So this person was in fact in Africa. So that kind of gave me some comfort as to how his chart is, whether it is accurate, whether it is actually reflecting this person's life. Now, interestingly, in 2015, February 2015, you can see Rahu that the Mahadasha ended. Now, this was 18 years, and this was 18 years of a phenomenal life, right? This person made a lot of money, got married, had kids, etc. Everything going super duper well. Now, interestingly, and this is where the power of Dasha comes in, that when you're in Hindi, there is a saying, Dasha badal jati. So this is demonstrating that after Rahu, you had the Dasha of Jupiter. Now, Jupiter, as per traditional Jyotish, is a all-weather benefic. That's not true as per stellar methods. A planet is one never an all-weather benefic or an all-weather malefic. Malefic. It's always good for something and it is bad for something else. Now we are looking from point of view of his career, and Jupiter was very bad for him from point of view of career, because look at what houses are being signified. Now we are looking at Jupiter over here. What are the houses? 1, 2, 3, 7, 8. Okay, of which the strongest result is being given of the eighth house. From my earlier videos, you know what the eighth house stands for. Eighth house is the house of accidents. It's the house of delays, disappointments, insults, losses. All sorts of things that go wrong in a person's material life. Eighth house is very good for occult. So for a tantric, this might be a very good period. But for someone who's in material life, eighth house is insulting, right? And what is the type of results? So you have 1, 4, 11, 12. So there is a 11, but generally houses like 6 and 8 tend to side with 12 rather than 11. And in any case, in the strong significators, 11 has gone altogether. So he got results of 814. So there are no mitigating factors like 10, 11 coming together and in strong significations. You will also notice that significations of things keeping him abroad, which is basically third house and 12th house, have gone away, because they're not gone away, they are weaker, I would say, than the signification of bringing him back home, which was house number 4. Now, what happened during this period exactly is that almost to the day, I would say, or at least to the month when the Shah changed, he was actually duped by a business partner, and it ended up that he ended up owing a lot of money to people in the country that he was staying, and that is insulting, right? I mean, your passport gets confiscated and stuff like that, and that had happened to this person. And he basically wanted to find a way home. Now, his the advantage was this was going to happen because the houses which kept him abroad themselves had gone away. So it was not possible for him to live abroad. The more he lived abroad, the more insulting it got. The more he became trapped in the situation. And uh, and this is exactly what happened with this person. He lost his house, the money, the respect that he had earned over all these years, and he one day finally had to do a lot of I hate the word, but I'll have to use it for expediency. He had to do a lot of jugad and actually come back to his motherland. He had to come back to India, almost running away from a place where he had really built his life over nearly 2 decades, right? And this is what happened. The other thing that did happen is, the houses 1, 6, and 10 are opposing of marriage, and 2, 7, and 11 are favoring marriage. Now, you can see in Jupiter, he does have a 2, 7, 11 kind of a signification. There is a second house and the seventh house, and so on and so forth. But the stronger signification is of 1, which opposes marriage. And generally, when 8 comes in, separations tend to be a little more acrimonious. Like if there is a full combination of 8, 12, along with marriage negative houses of 1, 6, and 10, then those are like the divorces the neighbors speak about. But this was just 8, so there was some issues, etc. But I think eventually they got amicably or relatively amicably settled, and this person had to even separate from his spouse. So you can see how much between Rahu and Jupiter this changed. And if you look at the dasha which comes after Jupiter, which is Saturn, because that's now what you're interested in, right? Saturn will be markedly better for this person because he has got significations of 2, 6, 10, 11. And the strongest signification is 6, 10, 11, which is a very good kind of a period. The type of results will be of 8. Now this puts me in a little bit of a quandary that, what exactly will 8 give, because 8 generally, you've seen it earlier in my videos, gives you things that there is a sting attached to 8, like things like dowry, insurance money, bribes, gifts, lottery winnings. They come under 8, right? So what could this signify? I think it could very well signify this person getting a share in his property, because he is going to get money, and Shani generally, when he does give, he gives a lot. So maybe some builder comes and buys ancestral land or something like that, right? I mean, and that can happen because he's got a third house in a weak signification, albeit, but there is a third house which is 12th from 4th of residence. So having to sell, that house. And 5 and 10. So generally 3, 5, and 10 is the combination required to sell your house, because that is equivalent to almost like 4, 11, and 12 for the seventh house, which is the opposing party. So maybe that happens because I'm saying that he's going to get money, success from something of the eighth house. So, like, I don't want to predict that he'll do something illegal. So, eighth house, I'm taking it in the most benevolent sense that he gets it from inheritance, he gets it from insurance and things like that. But Rahu period is quite long. I mean, it is 18 years, right? I mean, sorry, Jupiter period is quite long. It's 18. It's sorry, it is from 2031, from 2015 to 2031, right? So it is not like a small period, or to be trifled with. And this is the other point that I want to make, that if you look at his chart, right, the things that stand out is 2, 6, 10, 11, 6, 10, 11, 6, 10, 11, 6, 10, 11, and that is what it kind of suggests that this is like a really great chart. But where you're born, in which dasha you're born, because that determines your birth dasha, determines the kind of future dashas that you will get. And let's say this person had just, I mean, this person doesn't, thankfully, but let's say this person had just three bad planets in his chart, three bad grahas in his chart for career, which was Rahu, Jupiter, and Saturn. This person entered Rahu bang at the time of his peak career time. He's just starting off and things like that. And if Rahu is bad, and then Jupiter is bad, and then Saturn is bad, you lose a period right from 1997 to 2050. So you often hear of these people who struggle their entire life, and then suddenly, the age of 60 or something, they found massive success in something else. This is the kind of charts that they have. That they had very good charts, generally for career, but just the dashas that were coming at their key times in their life, which is like the time to work and earn money and respect, they were bad. Thankfully, this person's Saturn is a decent kind of a dasha, not as good as Rahu, but it is decent. And this period, which is between 2015 and 2031, which is a 16-year period, will hopefully he will ride it through. See, the other advantage also is that even though the dasha is harsh, the bhuktis within it, when good bhuktis come, he ends up making money. So he does some kind of an import export right now. He does some consultancy here and there. So money started coming in, but nowhere close to what this person, like, he had a fiefdom in the Rahu dasha, right? So that has not happened and is unlikely to happen in Jupiter. So in that sense, you have to remember this happens, and this also happens in the case of marriage. A person may have a great chart for marriage, but only three grahas, let's say Rahu, Jupiter, and Saturn, or maybe four, Mercury, are bad for bad for your marriage. And that person hits Rahu right at the age of 20, starts Rahu Dasha right at the age of 20. Then 18 years plus 16 years plus 19 years plus 17 years, this entire period, which is peak marriage time, the person just won't get married because dasha will determine the status. So like a good bhukti might make him feel he's getting married. He might go reach up to the mandap, but it might get cancelled. Things like that will happen. So it's necessary to actually look at dashas, not just a chart, not just look at the significators overall, but also see which dasha this person is in. And this really highlights the contrast that just a change in dasha can make, and really make a raja into a rank, and even vice versa. So I hope this was a useful session for you. It has been some time. You can actually make these significators yourself using this chart and the data over here that I've given for sublords and star lords. And you can see whether your significators match my significators. Ignore the one in brackets. Just assume that it's just one. So don't think it's a negative one or something. And yeah, and thank you for those who asked about my well-being. I am doing well. I've just work has picked up and I'm extremely busy, but I will try and update this a little bit more often if possible. So thank you very much for your support. Please continue to view, subscribe, and share my channel. Thank you.